Hello and welcome to the channel where we talk about all things Weiss, Schwarz and chill with friends. My name is Liam. Today, I want to talk about some advice regarding Bro 2022 and how to set up your camera. Now, if you are new to the channel here, please consider hitting that subscribe button. And if you enjoyed this video, please let me know by hitting that like button. As well as that, please make sure you check out my other social medias on Twitch, on Discord, and on Twitter. Links are in the description below. And don't forget to check out my Patreon as well. Again, links down below. But let's jump straight in. So as of recording, this weekend is the Weiss Schwarz BRO 2022. And what I want to do, I've had quite a few people in the Weiss and Chill Discord server asking, how do I set up my camera? How do I prepare myself for BRO? Do I need any sort of software? Anything like that? And I'm going to go through that today. Now, I appreciate it's a bit last minute in terms of getting it out ready for BRO, so I do apologise. But I want to at least put this out here now, and also then so that when it comes to Bro 2023, if that does happen, you guys are well informed and prepared on what to have ready. Now, the first thing you need is obviously a webcam. Now, the recommendations and the requirements on the BRO website is that it must be at least 720 pixel in terms of resolution, and that's kind of it. So you can sort of go as cheap or as expensive as you want. I personally use the Logitech C922 that I use for my streaming. I've also got another webcam that I got from Amazon, which is actually a 1080p 60 frames per second, but you don't have to go that crazy. You can get one for like £15–20 from the likes of Argos, Tesco for those in the UK, or Amazon. You know, Amazon's always great around the world, so definitely recommend checking out that. And if you're on a budget, £20, so about 25–30 USD is about right. You shouldn't need to go more expensive than that, but if you do want to go more expensive, obviously you can. Now, the next thing to consider is your sleeves and the cards that you're going to be using for the game. So the rules for BRO and online events is that you are only allowed up to 2 layers of sleeves, meaning standard sleeves and then over sleeves if you wish to use them. And if you do use over sleeves, they must be totally clear with no matte side. For example, you can use Bushiroad over sleeves, hard clear sleeves. Those are absolutely fine because there's no matte, they're secure, they're strong, and they're made by Bushiroad, so Bushiroad are happy to go buy it. But I must reiterate, you cannot use matte over sleeves. If you do decide to use over sleeves, your over sleeves must also not have any patterns on them, like the gold borders or anything like that. So they must be absolutely clear, so please make sure that's the case. And also, if you do decide to go single sleeves, it's up to you if you want to use art sleeves for the sake of that. Personally, when I'm single sleeving, I prefer to use like Dragon Shields, Ultra Pro, Perfect Guard, Ultimate Guards, even those sort of sleeves, like those standard monochrome sleeves. But one thing I would recommend as well is that if you are using monochrome sleeves, make sure that you use sleeves that do not clash with whatever matte you're using. For example, if you're using a plain black matte, don't use plain black sleeves. I would say that they would be last to be changed because it is not clear on camera. And if a judge does get called up on that, you will probably be asked to change, so don't fall short on that. The next thing you're gonna need is obviously Discord. Now, you can download the app for that, the actual software, or you can use the browser version if your computer is not up to scratch in terms of running Discord. But I would make sure that, again, if you want to be a part of online events, make sure you've got a laptop PC that runs Discord as well as a recording software, which I'm going to go through in a moment. But yeah, obviously you need to have Discord, you need to be on the correct Discord server for the region that you're playing in, and you just need to make sure that you are prepared with all the rules, you understand the regulations, and you understand what's expected of you and what the check-in times are for the actual event. As I briefly mentioned a moment ago, it is strongly recommended that you have some form of recording software in terms of that can record your screen, your microphone, and your speaker output. A great example of this would be to use something like OBS, which I literally use for streaming and recording my YouTube videos. So OBS would be a fantastic thing to use in terms of doing a screen capture or display capture. Basically, the reason why we say this is because if something does come up and you need recorded evidence to show the judge team, we can arrange that. So it's only to protect yourself as well as to protect your opponent. So I would strongly recommend that if you haven't already downloaded something like OBS, there are other softwares you can use as well, but personally OBS is probably the least intensive, and considering that it's free, probably the best option, at least in my opinion, but you can sort of use whatever you need to. And finally, the thing that you must have on you at all times whilst you're playing tournaments is some fluid. Make sure you keep hydrated. Once you're in a game, you cannot leave the table. You must stay where you are, and just having a water bottle nearby with no disruption of like where your cards are or anything like that is strongly recommended so that if you do need to take a drink, you are going to be talking a lot about explaining your effects and things like that. So be prepared and be hydrated. In terms of recommendations, that's about it. So what I'm going to do now is talk through my camera setup, the sort of angles that you'll be expected to use during BRO, as well as, you know, the sort of webcam and online game etiquette. So going for a slight change of angle here to explain the sort of thing that would be expected of your setup. This setup I've got at the moment, you can see I've got my first, second cards. I've got some cards here, which in the tournament for BRO, you must not have cards on your desk. So this is not allowed. I personally have obviously a microphone here. You can just use your normal webcam microphone, that's not a problem. But again, I've got a camera set up here where I've got my camera linked to an arm. You don't need to go as complicated as that. That's just me personally. Again, make sure you've got drinks. I have a McDonald's cup up there. I've also got my wife who's cheering me on. So make sure you're ready for that. Make sure you've got ample lighting. So for, again, I've got a ring light if needs be. I've also got some USB strip lights up here that I use. You don't have to go, again, you don't have to go that all out, but that's just me, again, because I do streaming, it makes sense for, you know, having that extra lighting and things like that. But again, you must make sure that your play area is totally clear of any other cards. So I'm going to clear that up now, but I wanted to make that point. Now, in terms of your camera layout, again, this is sort of a good angle to use. You can see my entire stage. You can see my stock clearly. You can see my level, my clock, my deck. If I had a memory, you can see all that. So everything is super clear here. My hand is always going to be on camera, whether that is out of my actual physical hand and on the table here, just showing that I've got cards in hand. Or if I do take the cards in my hand, I look at them and make sure that they are still visible to the opponent. At no point should the cards in your hand ever leave the camera. You do not do that. That is technically a thing where they could call a judge on you, and that would give you a warning, and if it keeps happening, that would be a game loss. So again, keep your physical hand on camera at all times. If you're not using your hand and you want to move your hands away, place your hand down, move your hands away, and you're fine. But as long as they stay there, you're good. Moving on to the actual supplies now, again, make sure that your sleeves are licensed products. You can see down the bottom of this card here, you see the licensing text. Apologies that it's a little blurry, but you can see that these are official Weiss Schwarz sleeves. You don't have to use official Weiss Schwarz sleeves as long as they are official licensed sleeves that do not belong to a competing TCG, or they are plain monochrome sleeves. For example, Dragon Shield, Ultimate, Ultra Blue. Those brands where the standard color sleeves are absolutely fine. You're absolutely fine to use sleeves and over sleeves. Now, I haven't actually changed these sleeves. These over sleeves with the matte outlet would actually be not allowed. You are not allowed to use matte over sleeves. You must use clear over sleeves. I just haven't got any to hand right now to show, but to say that these ones that have got these matte over sleeves, like KMC over sleeves, KMC mats, they are not allowed for online. Another thing to be clear with as well, that inner sleeves are not allowed, given that the rules and regulations set on the Bushiroad Rumble Online website. It says that you're allowed up to 2 layers of sleeves, and if you do use over sleeves, they must be clear over the standard sleeves. So you cannot use inner sleeves and then like monochrome sleeves. So apologies for that, but you cannot use those. But over sleeves over normal sleeves are fine, providing they are not matte over sleeves like these currently are. Now, obviously on this video, I've taken a bit more of a serious approach in terms of what would be expected from a judge's perspective and from your opponent's perspective. Now, Bushiroad did make a video for BRO 2021. It starred Chris or Different Fight, as well as the Bushiroad staff members. If you haven't checked it out, please do. It has a bit more of a informative take in terms of expectations of shuffling, expectations of offering cuts to your opponent, the expectations of how to handle if a judge calls over and says that they need to show you their room, and also your room, should I say. So things like that is where, you know, they explain that quite well. But in terms of the actual detailed of what I would recommend in terms of having for your setup, they don't touch that much, which is why I wanted to make this video. But that's about it, and that's about all I can really say in terms of the expectations. It's really not too difficult in the sense of, you know, there are expectations, there are extra levels of security taken in terms of trying to prevent cheating, because cheating is more available and possible during online events. But we are doing everything that we can to try and reduce that, to make it a fair play environment, as well as a fun environment for just playing an online event. For, you know, it was something that went really, really well last year, and I'm really excited the fact that it's come back for this year, and I hope it becomes a staple for every year, because I think BRO is a fantastic way of including more of the player base. But that is it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. Again, if you haven't already, please consider subscribing to the channel. And if you did enjoy this video or took something away from it, let me know by hitting that like button. And as well as that, check out my other social medias on Twitch, on Discord, and on Twitter. And feel free to support me on Patreon as well. But again, that's for any support is very much appreciated. But thank you so much for watching this video, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Bye!